Zachary King, who is completing his 2 books entitled Satan Loves Me, He Loves Me Not. The second one is called Abortion is a Satanic Sacrifice. And any of you who have seen some of the recent videos on abortion and the selling off of organs, the piles of aborted flesh, bloody red. I don't know who these people are that run these clinics, Zachary, but they can't be 100% human.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. It's also to savor the irony of on the one hand, it's a lump of cells. You're not really killing a baby. It's just
that's their scam excuse.
Right,
yeah.
right. That's their thing. But then they tell you, on the other hand, we're harvesting brains and organs, and it's like, really, what are you harvesting brains and organs from? If it's just a lump of cells, I don't know of any lump of cells that has a brain.
They have a little problem with their explanation, just a little one. Okay. We have satanic possession, we have mind control, government, we have demonic possession of all kinds, apparently. We have MPD, we have DID, we've got satanic ritual abuse, SRA, we've got all manner of horrors hiding all over society in plain sight. And just as a general question before we get to the Grove, do you know of any overlay when you look at George Bush, George W. giving the signal, the satanic sign, and all the others, and then you understand that the CIA has been heavily involved in mind control since the 1950s with Louis Delgado and all that. He pioneered it, basically. And where they are now, which is 65 years later, it's got to be far more than just a dabbling art or a research project. It has to be an exact science by now. Is there any crossover that you are aware of between the 2 disciplines of mind control and influence?
Absolutely. As being in the satanic cult that I was in, you are privy to a lot of information, and a lot of it you don't need. You just, because you're at such a high level of, like, espionage and intrigue and nefariousness.
Yeah.
You were there when things are discussed. Or you're like, I was at a meeting for one of the Bilderberg meetings, and the people there just blatantly talk about all this stuff out in the open, I guess, figuring, where are you going to take it? You're a Satanist, and you're about to do a spell for them. What do they care what they're saying in front of you?
Did you dress up for that?
I dressed up for everything. There's a couple of reasons. One is that your position is a position of power. And you want them, it's just like a general in the army. You want everybody in that room to know you're the general.
Got it.
The other reason is that it's a disguise for the High Wizard. So, when I walk into a room, they're not sure, except for my build or body type might be a little off from somebody else. There could be 10 of us at any given time. So they're not quite sure which one of us is which. And we all have face paint. We all, for the most part, have long hair. I think a couple of us were bald, but you're wearing a hat, so you're not really sure, and our build generally is pretty slight.
Always a top hat, too, yeah.
Yeah, always the top hat. So, it's like seeing that look, you're not sure if it was me or if it was somebody else, and most of the people that see us have never seen us without the makeup.
Got it. And you've been to these meetings dressed up. That's fascinating. Did you see any other wizards there?
No, you never see. There'd never be 2 wizards at the same place.
You would have been the only one. You had to have been invited.
Yeah, you get invited to Bohemian Grove, absolutely. The very first year that you're a High Wizard, you get invited there. There won't be two high wizards that come in at the same year. And if they want to make somebody else a high wizard, then somebody has to wait, until the next year, and then the next year that person would have to go to Bohemian Grove at least one of the times during the year, usually at the cremation of care. That will be your first time being there.
Will there be only one wizard at the cremation of care per time?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And in the Alex Jones video, he records a high wizard.
Yeah.
You see the guy dressed in black with corpse paint on his face, rowing across on a boat. And
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. Now he didn't. Excuse me, but do we really think that he snuck in there and got away with all that? Come on. There are pictures of him making the sign, the hand sign.
He's legitimately there, but I don't know that. They have pretty tight security. They had tight security. He was there after I had been there. Like my last time being there was 1998. He was there like in 2000 or 2001. When I was there were Freemasons that were security that walked the outside perimeter and didn't actually come inside, but there's over 100 of those guys walking around with walkie-talkies. They have a higher level security inside. These guys are armed. They have cameras on trees and an actual security personnel that's walking around. So I was like really amazed that he was able to get in. And it did not occur to me until this very second that he may have been invited in.
I'm watching the way the camera is being operated and held, and I'm having a lot of experience with video and film production. I'm wondering, is the security that lax that somebody could walk in there and videotape something like that without being pegged? I don't know. We will never know, but it's something to think about.
It is, well, you would think, because he's like a conspiracy guy.
Yeah.
You would think that somebody there would have recognized him.
Oh, how could they not? He's a very unusual looking man, and yeah.
Oh, it'd be like Jeff Rense sneaking into someplace. Everybody knows Jeff Rense.
Well, not with my straw hat on, they wouldn't. Okay, the Grove. Tell us. The cremation of care is horrible enough in its import. The owl is there. Moloch.
Well, Moloch actually isn't there.
Okay.
Moloch, for those listeners that don't know, would be a demon with an open mouth and palms. The statue itself is generally made of metal, or could be made of ceramic. They build a fire inside of it. The mouth is opened up, and people would throw babies into the mouth of it to burn them alive, or would put them on the hands, which are extremely heated, and they would put babies on those as well to kill them. And this has been Moloch was a statue back in biblical times, and has continued through the ages, and is still used. By the people that have put this Baphomet statue in Detroit, who say that Satan is this benevolent creature that would never hurt a fly. Well, you're a liar. It's like it says in the Bible he was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. And they weren't kidding about that. It's like he wants babies sacrificed to him. That's why we have 53 million murders since 1973 in the abortion industry.
Now, when you were a high wizard, how did you view abortion?
What did I actually do?
Well, I know what you did. We've gone through that, and it's pretty horrible. But the general view of abortion as a high wizard, to the others below you would be all pro.
Well, the very first one I did, which I went through the story of in the first show. The very first one I did, when they first told me that I was going to do an abortion, I said, cool, but I was like, I have no idea what that means. And trying to look it up was like an impossible task. And when I finally came back to them, I was like, hey, I heard I was going to do an abortion, but I don't know what that means. And their definition was, you're killing a baby in the womb. They didn't say you're hacking and slicing some fetal tissue. They said you're killing a baby in the womb. And I was like, is that legal? And it was like, absolutely. As long as the baby's in the womb, legal. Baby comes out of the womb, murder. Don't do it. So if we were ever doing an abortion and the baby survived when it came out, it got to live. It was just like, and it wasn't out of like, oh, it's a baby, let's not kill it.
Those were the rules.
Kill it. Yeah, those were the rules. It's murder if you kill it when it's out. It was murder as well when it's in the womb. There's no difference in that baby when it's in the womb or out. It's just legally you can kill it.
That's the law, as it were. All right, now let's go back to the Grove. In one reference work, it says there were only 1 to 12 high wizards in the world at any given time. Is that true, or is that a misquote?
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
There's between 1 and 10. Generally, there's between 2 and 5. They try and keep it at like a smaller number, but I guess there's so much evil going on in the world.
It's expanded, yeah.
It's like we're spread pretty thin at times, and there's at times when all 10 of us are traveling the world, like constantly. You're going from venue to venue to venue to venue, and there's like no break, and it gets very exhausting.
So they increased the number a little. All right.
So they increased the number.
You were in the elite of the elite, and yet you left it. Satan loves me, he loves me not.
The book.
Go ahead.
The book. What happened with I wrote a book in 2008 when I first came out, and it took me about 2008 and part of 2009. And when I was done with it, I had a spiritual director, and he got a copy of it. Well, he got the only copy of it. And he read it. It took him about 11 months to go through it. And he was like going through it with a bunch of biblical books as well. And when he finished it, he said, okay, you have to divide this into 2 books. You can't just put out one book. You have to put out this part of the book. The second book is done. But you can't put it out first. You have this other book that has to come out first. So the second book has been done since 2009.
I got it.
And the first book, I don't have time to do. I have about 12 CDs and DVDs that are out that I did in the interim.
Right.
We're currently working on Abortion as a Satanic Sacrifice, the CD, and that's going to be like a 2 or 3 disc set. And when I get done with that, I'm going back to the book.
So you've been on both sides of the abortion argument. Is this argument ever going to be solved somehow?
I think it will be. The issue is that people see it as like a physical battle, and it's not a physical battle. And until we recognize it as spiritual warfare, we're not going to win it. Like, there's not a law. We're not going to come up with a law that we can enact that will end abortion, because every law that we come up with, they have already got a law in the books that says, there's a federal law now that says you can't limit abortion with any law you come up with. And then, every year we send more and more people to march on Washington in January, the March for Life, which so many people don't even know exists because regular news coverage doesn't cover it.
No, MSM blackout. Yeah.
In January of 2014, there were, I bring up that year because I know the stats for both sides for how many people went. The stats for this year, for us, was 670,000. But for last year, 630,000 people went to March for Life. Now, you'd think if that many pro-life people are going, how many people did Satan send from his side to march? And there's got to be a big number because it's God versus Satan. There's a battle going on. How many people? Well, one website said that he sent 30. That's not 30,000. That's 30. And another website said 100, and another one said 1,000. So let's go with the top number. We have 1,000 Satanists versus 630,000 of God's people. In what story in the Old Testament do we see a battle that happens between 1,000 and 600,000 1,000 were Christians, or they were God-fearing people. But where the 1,000 are Satanists and the 630,000 are fighting for God, that would never happen. But it happens here because abortion is still legal. And the reason it happens is because we don't fight the right way. Satan knows it's a spiritual warfare. Satan knows he doesn't have to send an army. He knows that, there's nothing the Christians are going to do that's the right thing. They don't fight the right way.
What is it about Caucasian Christians that makes them so weak, Zachary, that they're pushed around and they're literally in decline now? And there's an obvious war on the Caucasian middle class. So-called white people seem to be afflicted, if that's the right word, with a soft spot to try to help and make a difference on the planet, which is viewed by many as being a weakness and should be eradicated.
Right. I don't think that it is a weakness. I think that's just the way that it's viewed. I think as well that I'm not necessarily saying that white people, but definitely the Christian side. Okay. When they try and do something, like when the left does anything, and you can talk about abortion or gay rights or any issue that they have that they want to pass, they make it a human rights issue. We don't. We make it usually a right or wrong issue. We make it a moral issue. And there's such a gray area, and there's such moral ambiguity, and relativism is such a big thing now, that just because you think it's a lie doesn't make it a lie. Just because you don't think it's good doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means you feel that way. Mm-hmm. It's like, don't put your truths on my body. So you're left with us trying to come up with, well, this is morally wrong, and the other side saying, you don't have the right to tell me that. It's my right to kill as many babies as I want to. You've got isn't it Missouri, I think, that the woman, the Satanist, is suing the governor and the Planned Parenthood and some other place because, some other organization, because they won't allow her to get an abortion right away because it's her right. They're trying to tell her that morally she has to wait 3 days, and she says that I'm a Satanist, then those aren't my morals, those are yours.
Huh. I haven't heard that one. All right, let me go back to the Grove. And what goes on in the Grove? We do know about the cremation of care, thanks to Joan's video. We've seen it. It's on the internet now. You can watch it. What else goes on there? I guess these things last a week, 10 days, something like that? It depends on who you are, is what your role is there, and how long they want to invite you for. Well, I remember the airport nearby. I don't know, Sonoma. I don't know what it is, but the private jets flying in, and the Henry Kissingers coming, and so forth. There were lots and lots of names. Yeah, there's a lot of big names there. You could be there for 2 weeks. You could be there for 10 days. Some people come in for 1 day, or 3 days. There are places to stay at the Grove, which was odd. I don't think I saw that on Alex Jones' video. There's actually an underground bunker there, which, I'm guessing that, he didn't get invited. He wasn't privy to those kind of things. They do a lot of their lunches and barbecues actually outdoors, and then there's also indoor facilities. They also have buildings that are like collapsible that they put there just for the event, and then I guess they ship them out. They have parties, get-togethers. Their homosexuality runs rampant. They have gay porn stars and gay prostitutes that come in that either entertain the guests with like shows, or they frolic with the guests. And they have and most everybody participates in these things. Right. Most people participate. They at least watch. But no one is like walking away, and I guess if I had been a high wizard back when President Nixon was there, I understand he walked away. There's a recording of him on YouTube. I've heard that before somewhere. I don't remember where, but I've heard that he rejected that. Yeah, he said that he guesses that the area is too close to San Francisco, and uses a very derogatory
derogatory term towards gay people, and discusses that there's too many of them there. And so I guess he wasn't a fan. I saw Ronald Reagan there in '87. That was my first year at the Grove, and I've never seen anybody look so uncomfortable anywhere in my life. And he looked like a black man at a Klan rally. I mean, he was just like, he looked like he was scared.
He didn't know what he was getting into before he went, maybe.
He must have. I mean, he was put into office. Okay, I was told, by going there and by working with the Illuminati, I was told that only one president in the history of our country was not put in to the presidency by the Illuminati.
Name?
A lot of people guessed that it was Ronald Reagan, and it wasn't him. He was absolutely put there by the Illuminati.
I can see that. Why not take a guess? Boy, I don't know. I'd have to say JFK, if anything. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people go with him as well. No, it was Jimmy Carter.
Well, there's your Christian.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was, from the story I got, was that the Illuminati was backing Ford. And they saw this guy, Carter, coming in, and they were like, there's no way in hell this guy is going to garnish any votes. So they didn't push. They just thought, this is a shoe-in.
They actually just didn't bother with it, and he won.
Yeah, and he won. So when Reagan came along in '80, it was like, oh hell no, this isn't going to happen again. We're going forth with everything we have and backing Reagan. And he won by he got every state but one.
Yeah. It is said that I don't know that Obama has gone to the Grove, but it is said that during the last election, Romney, the Zionists wanted Romney in there, and 8 million votes disappeared to defeat Romney and put the alleged Barack Hussein Obama in there again. And if you folks want to see what I consider to be inside information worked into a documentary that'll tell you all you really need to know about Barack Obama, look up Dreams of My Real Father, not Dreams of My Father. Yeah. I think that was Mossad information fed to the producer Joel Gilbert, worked into the documentary. It was too much inside stuff. I'm a journalist, I know. I was just left saying this was put together to drive votes away from Obama. And I had Joel on the program a couple times, and I looked at the video, and I just said, well, there it is, Frank Marshall Davis, obviously his father, obviously.
Right.
And quite a story. Okay, now, back to the Grove. Tell us a few more things about what goes on there. Now, these people, is it just a bacchanal, so to speak, with sexual drugs and all kinds of diversions, or are there policies made there?
There are. I know that they deny policies go on there, but they like to say that it's just a good old boy club to let boys get together and unwind. That's a type of unwinding I would never want to do. There's blatant homosexuality. There's also, the High Wizard is there to procure deals. He's to.
What did you do there? Let's go to that question direct. What did you do there?
I've done as the High Wizard. I work in I'm in the cremation of care. I do spell work at the Owl. There's actual spell work that can happen right there, right out in the open. Everybody sees it. I've been hired to do spells for politicians, for rich and powerful, and these are generally not spells that happen there. They make an appointment. The guy that ran the place when I was there, his name was Alex. And Alex would walk with me the first day I get there to introduce me to everybody, or at least to point out people that I would be doing work for later. And that work, in some respects, that work is not always spell work, but you don't necessarily tell the person what you're going to do. It'd be like if you come to me and you said, I've got a construction company that works under me, along with everything else illegal that I do. And I want a deal where I can make, like, if I'm doing like the infrastructure, building roads in the country, I know that I could easily make $5 or $6 billion. But I've tried everything to get everybody's attention that I can. I send baskets of fruit to everybody, bottles of Patron to the people I think will work, the money I try and buy off whoever I can. I don't know the right people. Can you do this for me? And it's like, absolutely, you would need to, I would give you a number that you would call and you would negotiate for a price.
Who handles the price negotiation?
What's that?
Who handles the price negotiation?
Generally,
I don't want names, just somebody in the organization.
It's a Satanist, and it's somebody that works in the office. So
all right, and then once the number is ironed out, then you get the go sign.
Yeah, then I get the go sign and I do it. But it's not always magic. I mean, these people have no idea what I do. So, they know that, okay, he practices magic, and I know a lot of them look at me and go, that's BS, and it's like, well, it's whatever if you want, whatever you want, you're going to pay me big money. I'm going to do the best I can. Sometimes it's not a magic spell. Sometimes I know the person to call. I can call the person, and the next day they'll call you and say, hey, whatever you did, the High Wizard came through, and this is what you need. These are the forms you have to fill out, and this is who you have to fill it out to, and deliver it to me, and I'll push it through, and in 3 months you'll start getting your money.
So,
and you'll be amazed and think that I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it's not necessarily that I did a spell, I just knew who the contact person was. And that's how a lot of quote-unquote magic happens.
I understand.
It's just, it's who you know, not what you can do.
Well, that's the old axioms, not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
Okay, you went there 17 times, was it? 16 times?
18, but who's counting?
Yeah. The minutia of what goes on there then can be pretty heavy. It's not necessarily the big ceremonies or anything else. These deals that are made, do these people seek audience with you? Is that it? Is that how it works?
Yeah, they before they go to the Grove, they know that there's going to be a High Wizard there. Well, I wouldn't say everybody knows, because not everybody knows why they're going. But the people in the know, like, if you had Henry Kissinger on your show, he probably wouldn't be on your show. He could tell you.
Probably not. Yeah. I'm trying to get Donald Trump to come on. I'm not directly trying, but there are people who would like him to come on here. I think it'd be a very interesting hour.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the right word for it. It would be. Yeah.
Especially since he just doesn't seem to have control over that brain-mouth connection.
Well, I like that. I really like that idea. That's fun. You never know what's going to come out. I don't like people so regimented, full of recordings that you push a button and you enter a paradigm in, and they have a ready reply, and they give it. I don't like that. No, that's one of the appealing things about Mr. Trump. He does shoot from the lip, as they say. Okay, now
going to one other thing, you brought up Obama earlier in Bohemian Grove. Around 1993 or 94, I was at the Grove, and I was walking through a field with Alex and my security staff. And Alex is pointing out people that want to meet with me. And as we're walking, we're like an entourage going one way. There's a guy walking on like an intercept course with us. And doing that with the High Wizard, like I have my own security staff. You can't just casually bump into me and say, excuse me. That could be your last day of breathing. And so I'm looking out the corner of my eye at this guy coming, and I'm thinking, oh, this will be the first excitement of the day. And then Alex stops us and points out this guy off to the far right that wants to meet with me. While we're standing there talking about this guy that was on the intercept course with us walks right past. So no excitement today, that's fine, So this guy lives another day. And Alex says, that guy's going to be president one day. And I look over at this guy, and I size him up, look up and down and look at him, and I'm thinking, there's no way that, I mean, this is 1993, there's no way that the Americans are ever going to elect a black president. But apparently we did it twice. So,
yeah, the 8 million votes, alleged votes notwithstanding. But, yeah, it's quite a story. I refer to him as white because he's half and half. So people can call him black if they want. It doesn't matter to me. He certainly doesn't identify with the blacks of this country. He's in the elite. He's something else in his own mind.
He identifies with them when he wants to use them to move the race agenda forward.
That's right, absolutely. Yeah.
When he wants to try and take all our guns off our shelves or make our bullets so they expire, he certainly identifies with them.
Yeah. He's not finished, ladies and gentlemen. He's got over a year left to implement. There are some big things coming, I'm afraid, that will be passed by executive order that are utterly unconstitutional, and it's not over at all. We are really surrounded with some losers. Okay, anything else about the Grove you want to pass along? You've given us a pretty good sketch of what happens there.
In the cremation of care,
that's a big ceremony, folks. That's kind of the highlight of well, in a way.
It's like a low light. I used to have a flyer from there that was actually mailed to me, which was bizarre to me that they would have my physical address at my home. The High Wizard, no one knows who I am, but I got a flyer in the mail advertising the cremation of care, and it said right there on the flyer that it was a child sacrifice. It doesn't say mock sacrifice. So here these people are getting these flyers at home, I suppose, or at their office, and if anybody takes the time to read it, it shows it's a full-color, two-sided, heavy stock cardboard, glossy.
That's pretty brazen. What the hell's going on?
It is pretty brazen. This was it's probably like 1992 or 93. And very, very, right there. I mean, and it's like, it was, I don't know if it was called cremation of care on the flyer, but it mentioned, come join us for the child sacrifice. It was like right there, I'm like, that's pretty ballsy.
Yeah, pretty nutty.
But, when I was there, the multiple times I've been there, and I wasn't always there for the cremation of care, I saw the child before and after. So for me, the child was alive. But I've heard that is not always the case. And
going back in history, 100 years ago, I guess, it's been around for 100 years, hasn't it? About.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, in the beginning, they apparently did sacrifice more than they do now.
I would imagine that, when there was no internet and cell phones were very scarce, or phones were very scarce.
Yeah.
But murders could take place left and right, and no one would know. There was no accountability.
That's what I read.
There was still a bunch of children being kidnapped every year back then as well.
Correct. Yeah. All right, stand by. We have to take a break here again, Zachary. Hold on. This is very interesting. We have one segment to go, so let's see what, in your mind, you'd like to present, and we'll push it around the table here as we continue in just a couple of minutes. back. Zachary King is our guest. So Obama was there in the early 90s. I know when I saw him give that speech, the opening speech, the keynote speech, I guess it was, at the Democratic National Convention, I immediately recognized him as future president. There's no question about it. The articulation, the presence, the bearing, he had been trained very well for a long time. And he's got NLP down. He knows the tricks. He knows how to do it. Okay, some of the other people you've seen there. Any names you can drop that don't get you in trouble here? There've been a lot of them.
Yeah, there has. Henry Kissinger practically lives there.
He practically lives there?
And it seems like he was there every year that I was there, and I was there not just for the cremation of care. Bohemian Grove actually opens up during other times of the year as well.
I've heard that too. Yeah, it's true. Oh, all right.
That's the only way I could have been there 18 times in 12 years. And I wasn't always there at the cremation of care. I've seen both Bushes. Clinton actually saw Hillary. There's not supposed to be any women there, and she showed up to let him know that some deal they had brokered passed and went through, and then she got escorted off the property by security. Barack, but it was at the time that I saw him, I had no idea who he was.
Right.
I think.
I saw him on television give that speech. I didn't know who he was either. But didn't take
when
long.
was that?
Well, 4 years before he was first elected.
Okay. Because he was.
In the last convention, DNC before to nominate Bill Clinton for the second time, I believe.
Okay.
And then 4 years later, he ran.
Well, he got involved in the Senate or whatever in like '96.
No, that's wrong. My time's wrong. I forgot the 8 years of George W. Bush. Anyway, all right, we have to do some studies on this. But the point is, you saw this young guy, quick stepping around and obviously looking like somebody who had something special.
Right. He looked like somebody that, on the one hand, just saying where we were as a country, because Jesse Jackson had run by then, and no one was going to vote for Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
So seeing this guy, I was just like, there's no way. And then when he was running for president, I looked at my wife and I said, that's going to be the president. And she's like, no one knows him. No, we've never heard of him. I said, it doesn't matter. I saw him at Bohemian Grove. I was told he was going to be president. And she was like, no way. And then he gets elected, and she's like, shut up. How did that actually happen?
So you were married during the years that you were.
I got married in 2007, and I wasn't a high wizard anymore. I wasn't in the World Church of Satan anymore. But I was still practicing magic, and we got married, and she was involved in a lot of New Age stuff as well. So she was playing with Ouija boards and automatic writing and just practicing magic and thinking this was all very fun, not realizing the world I had come from.
Oh, really?
And then, yeah, it was kind of a secret part of my life, and I was like, I didn't see a reason to be that forthright. It's like I had committed all these things that now is, you can go to my website and look up, my testimony. You can either buy it or just listen to all the interviews that I have, and you can easily hear the stuff that I've done. But, it's like back then it was like, ooh, it's like I'm okay with no one ever knowing. And, one day I went to work and I met Jesus at the mall and didn't plan on it. And, when I came home, I was like, hey, honey, guess what? I'm Catholic now. And she was like, she's practicing New Age stuff. So she's like, of all the stuff you could be, why would you possibly be Catholic? but we both ended up entering the Catholic Church at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And, my conversion happened in such a way that, to me, it had to be something miraculous. It had to be something amazing, or...
Well, it was some kind of an epiphany, that's for sure.
I wouldn't have converted because you couldn't... to me, I had sold my soul when I was 13, and I knew that I could not ever go to God even if I wanted to. That's the document I signed. Mm-hmm. So I believed I had sold my soul, and there was no way to get it back. And, so I knew that if somebody came up to me and was just like, have you heard about Jesus? And I'd be like, F off, I'm done, I don't want to talk to you. And if somebody gave me a pamphlet of some kind, I would just throw it in the trash. It's like, this isn't an option that I have. I knew that from breaking up churches, and there's two churches that are attacked, the Catholics and the Baptists. Well, I'd never seen a holy Baptist church. It's like, when you can split them up with gossip, they're not very holy. And when they split up because of monetary scandals or because of sex scandals, they're not very holy. And then we didn't attack any other church. Satan, the Satanic World Church, the thought is that he would only attack a church that does Satan harm. If Satan's hurt by it, we're going to attack it. Baptists and Catholics were the only ones that got attacked. I didn't know anything about the Catholics. So, and from an encounter with my dad with the Catholic Church when I was about 8 years old, my dad told me they were all going to hell. So I thought, okay, well, they're going to hell, I'm going to hell. Baptists aren't holy. No other Protestant church is attacked by Satan, so who do I join? There's no church, and there's no place to go. Mm-hmm. So that it had to be a supernatural conversion because I wouldn't have listened to anything else.
All right, we have 4 minutes. Several things are on my mind. One, the Catholic Church is said to be performing more exorcisms now than they have in a long time.
That is absolutely true. We would perform even more, but we don't have the exorcists to do it. In the United States, the Pope a few years ago ordered that every diocese needs an exorcist because there's so much rampant Satanism and possession and things happening. And whenever anybody comes out of a satanic cult, they generally need to be exorcised. If anybody gets out of the Illuminati, they need to be exorcised. All these people are possessed. And, there's criteria to determine whether somebody's possessed. But the simplest criteria is that either they exhibit supernatural strength, which means they can actually, a small little girl that weighs like 98 pounds, it takes 10 big guys to hold her down, and they don't. She's still able to fight them off and get up.
They call that hysterical strength, too, yeah.
Or they have knowledge that they couldn't possibly have. Like they could tell you about your parents' first date, which is, you may not even know, but she can tell you. Or the person is, you look at them and okay, well, without stereotyping, but, they're a redneck and they have a high school education. And you know them, but yet they can speak Aramaic, and they can speak Latin, and they can speak Hebrew. They couldn't possibly know these languages, but they know them. And the other one, and this one, just in case you're going to explain away those other three, the other one is levitation. And that one's hard to explain away.
But it is. It would be tough. Obama's Democratic DNC speech was the keynote address. 2004 was the year, just for my own edification. And I was knocked over. I said, "Who is this guy? He looks black, not 100%." And he didn't get there by accident. I knew that. So it was no surprise when he was fast-tracked. He was just an Illinois state senator at the time.
Right. No one gets to be where they are without playing the game.
Yeah, that's 110,000% true. No coincidences, no accidents. Right. All of this mind control stuff It's all being run as a science. I guess there's the cult side of it, then there's the NSA, CIA, DEA, DIA, DARPA, all of that. They're contributing to it. That's what they're looking to go to now. And as far as children, it is projected that they will be able to take a fertilized fetus, which is done outside the womb, and raise it in an amniotic fluid until it's ready to be, quote, birthed, born, taken out of a jar. I'm being a little silly here, but that's what they're about able to do if they haven't already done it. So that may be the only way to end the abortion argument.
It's a scary world we live in, and that I praise God for shows like yours that people come out and they say this stuff, because there's so many other places that you won't hear the truth, or you hear their version of the truth.
Thank you. I appreciate people like you for what a story, what a life you are leading, and to talk to someone who's been on both sides is pretty remarkable. We'll talk again, Zachary. Thank you very much for the time tonight. You've got a lot of interested people listening, and you'll be hearing from some of them.
Thank you very much for having me again.
You're welcome.
AllSaintsMinistry.org.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, Zachary King, and we covered a lot of ground there in 2 hours. Lots to think about, and we will be back with you tomorrow night. Take care.